Yeah.
How attractive is that life when you're in it?
Oh, forget it.
Must be so much fun.
Yeah.
Part of the problem, right?
So, no. Waking up every day to think, is today the day I go to jail or today I get whacked? No, I didn't. Joe, I didn't find it that fucking attractive. Believe me. I mean, it's all right. They flash, they cash. You know, you walk into a restaurant, they know who you are. You know, you get the
VIP treatment.
You get the VIP treatment. You don't order off the menu. You know.
Yeah.
You know.
So there's perks.
There's those perks, but you know.
Too scary.
I didn't want to wake up every day saying, "Do I go to jail or do I get whacked today?"
Right.
That's their mindset.
Right.
It's crazy.
It is crazy.
It's crazy.
But I've talked to guys in that life, and they love it.
Yeah, well,
That's what's crazy about it.
Yeah. I know guys that became informants, and you know, they wish they could go back. I said,
Yeah.
Well, you know, no, I wouldn't want. You know.
But that is a problem with guys who do undercover work, right?
Yeah,
They
some
do
of them fall in love with it.
Yeah.
They fall in love with the undercover aspect, and I think the reason that that I was successful in all my cases, and that I'm still 98% sane, is I didn't fall in love with it, and I grew up on the streets. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I mean, I grew up in that environment, and I was never attracted to it as a kid.
Right.
You know?
Right. Did you ever run the risk of running into someone that you knew who knew you as Joe Pistone?
Yeah. Did you see the movie?
I did, but I don't remember.
In the airport?
Oh, that's right.
With the lawyer?
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
So that really happened?
Yeah.
Well, how did that go down?
Well, I saw, you know, we made eye contact, and, you know, and I just clocked him.
Oh, wow.
And Sonny says, "Donnie, why'd you do that?" I said, "Sonny, you guys are looking at my prick. What do you want me to do?"
Oh.
You know? But no, I never got attracted to the life other than as a job. And I think another reason too, Joe, where a lot of undercovers go wrong is they think they have to act like gangsters.
Mm.
They change their personalities.
Right.
And you can't be A in the daytime and B at night.
Right.
I never changed my personality.
Right.
You know, and a lot of undercovers are extroverts, and I'm the exception to that rule when I'm really an introvert.
So you didn't need the attention.
I didn't need the attention.
You didn't thrive on it.
I don't, you know, and I never changed my values. Like I mentioned before, I'm not a drinker. I never was a drinker. I worked in bars as bartender, you know, during my college years when I got out. And I wasn't going to become a drinker just because I was working undercover. You know, I mean, I had guys say, "Donnie, you never finish a beer," because I can't. I only can drink half a bottle of beer. That's all I can drink.
Probably lucky.
Probably.
Yeah.
Or, you know, you never have more than one glass of wine. That's all I can ingest is one glass. And see, too many undercovers think, oh, all bad guys are drinkers, all bad, you know. Donnie, I never do drugs.
The coke is a real problem with guys who go undercover, right?
Yeah.
Because they have to do it with everybody.
Well, you know,
or they think
look,
they do.
They think they do. I mean,
Right.
I was in a nightclub in Miami, and the guy offers me coke, and I slapped his hand. You know, fucking coke is all over the place, and I said, "Don't ever offer me that shit." I said, "I make money off of that. I don't put that stuff in my body. I go to the gym every day. Why would I do that shit?" I said, "To me, it's a moneymaker." See, but too many young undercovers think, oh, I got to drink.
Right.
I got to do this. I got to do that. I got to act tough.
Right.
You don't have to. All you do is you have to be yourself. That's all.
That way you don't have to ever change it up.
That's exactly right. You never have to change it.
You never get caught.
You never get
you're
caught.
Always yourself.
And you don't have to act tough. You don't have to talk tough. You just got to back up what you say. And that's it. Never say anything that you can't back up. And that was always my motto. I never promised anything that I couldn't do. I never let anybody back me against a wall, and I never got into anybody's face to make myself look tough.
Right.
And that's where a lot of young undercovers go wrong, that they think, they watch too much television. be honest with you. The only time I screwed up, I tell you, we're in Miami, all right? And I'm in another undercover's car. So it might have been Chico's. I don't remember. So there's the three bad guys, and he had his car wired up. So we're riding by, and it's a strip club, and it said 22 naked dancing girls. And I said 44 nipples. That's all I said. Well, that came out at trial by the defense attorney. And I had to explain why I was such an expert on female nipples.
That's just simple math.
But what I'm saying is,
So somebody remembered you saying that?
well, it was on the tape.
On the tape.
On the
right.
tape.
So they were trying to use that against you?
Yeah, that was, my character was, was questioned. But, it goes back to what I say is that I would not normally say that.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
It was just a dumb statement, but it's always going to come back to bite you in the ass.
Right. I gotcha.
So.
Yeah, you just got caught up in it.
Yeah.
So what happened when they opened up the books?
Well, they closed the case down. So I got him to postpone it to July because we had one more meeting with Trafficante set up. So I got him to postpone it until after that meeting, but I couldn't get him to wait until after I got inducted into the family. They wouldn't wait.
Wow.
So they closed the operation July 27th. Yeah. And 6 years undercover, 7 years of testifying.
Wow.
But I was lucky enough that after that case, I did undercover work overseas. I did undercover work for Scotland Yard.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What'd you do over there?
I had one case, and so they had two Scotland Yard detectives who I knew. I did a lot of work with their undercover unit. And so they were into the Chinese triads. And there's stuff I can't disclose, but they were manufacturing credit cards, and I won't say which companies. And you can bang them out for like $50,000 before they were discovered, because they had the numbers.
Yeah, I knew a guy who did that.
Yeah, they had the legit numbers.
Yeah. That was back when they had like the carbons, right?
Yeah. So
Scotland
Yard was trying to get to the location in another country, right, where they were actually, everything was going down. So they were meeting with the number 2 triad in London. So they said, hey, look, our guy from New York, mafia guy from New York, who's the money man, wants to have a sit down with you. He says, okay. So I fly over to London. And I knew the Scotland Yard guys because I had done other stuff with them. So they introduced me to the supervisor of the Serious Crime Squad. He was the guy that was running this case. So I would break his chops. You know, you can't. They don't carry guns or anything. You know, even the undercovers don't. They don't carry guns. So I'm sitting down with him, and I said, I said, you know, I got my gun, but I didn't bring any bullets. You got any bullets? The guy goes ape shit. He said, you can't carry. I said, calm down. I'm just breaking your chops, right? So and he says to me, what are you wearing to this meeting? I said, I'm wearing slacks, sport coat, and a shirt. He said, no, you got to wear a suit. I said, why do I have to wear a suit? He said, because all these triad guys wear suits all the time. I said, what's that got to do with me? He said, no, you got to wear a suit. I said, well, I don't have a suit. I said, I'm telling you, I got slacks, a sport coat, dress shirts, and that's what I'm wearing. So he turns to the undercover guy from Scotland Yard, and he turns around, opens his safe, pulls out money, says, go buy him a suit. I said, you're going to buy me a suit? He said, yeah. I said, what do I do with the suit when I'm done with it? He said, you should keep it. I said, all right. So me and Graham, we go. I buy 2 suits, one for me and one for Graham. Right? So we go to the meeting, and I'm wearing his suit. So there's me, the 2 Scotland Yard guy, undercover guys, and the triad. So now, before we go to the meeting, the supervisor's telling me, look, you can't insult this guy. You got to be nice to him because he's the number 2 guy. So I says, hey, look, I said, I don't tell you how to run your serious crime squad. Don't tell me how to work undercover. I says, whatever you need, I'll get. I said, but don't tell me how to do it. So he's all nervous. So we're in a resort. They rented a suite, big suite in a resort, and they're next door. So they got the suite where we are. They got it wired, audio, video, right? So we go in, and we're sitting there, and we get through all the niceties with the triad. So the guy keeps fucking interrupting me. So finally I says, hey, Chin. I said, why do your sentences always start in the fucking middle of mine?
Oy.
And he looks at me. And you can hear there's dead silence, right? Then he says, oh, Mr. Joe. I was going by Joe Marino at the time. He said, oh, Mr. Joe, I apologize. I'm sorry. Graham tells me, he says, when you said that, he thought the supervisor was going to have a heart attack. He said, he just blew it. It's over. After that, the guy gave us everything. The location of the factory, the whole Megillah.
Do you feel like you had to do that to have his respect?
Of course. I mean,
right.
I'm a mob guy. What do I know about the triads?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So if I would have let him kept stepping on me,
right,
he's
that'd been out of character.
Yeah.
Right.
You know. So yeah.
That had to be fucking scary.
Yeah. Well, the triads,
they're scary.
Yeah, they are. And he was the number 2. And I give these guys credit. I mean, he got to the number 2 guy, but they couldn't get,
Right.
So, but.
What a life.
Yeah.
How do you stay calm in these situations?
Joe, I just stay who I am. You know, I get that Sicilian in me, and you know, you go at it when you have to, and if you don't, you know.
If you don't, it probably seems off.
Yeah. So.
But that's got to be just fucking nerve-wracking.
You know, it is, because what's nerve-wracking is you always have to be on.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
you can never be off.
You never relax.
No. I mean, not many guys could say that they had sit-downs with two mafia bosses of different families, right? I used to stay at Sonny Black's apartment with him in Brooklyn, and this guy was running the Bonanno family. He was one of the top capos in the Bonanno family. But Sonny, I don't know how many hits he had. Now, all these guys I dealt with, don't forget, all these guys had hits under their belt. These weren't
Right.
novice guys. I mean, they all had, 5, 6, 10, 15 hits under their belt.
Mm.
You know, I got into a fight one time in a bar with Tony Mira. Me and him against three guys. And he grabbed a beer bottle, broke it on the bar, and just boom, raked the guy's face. Now there's another guy. I always brings up to young undercovers is that this was probably the meanest guy I ever fucking met. Flat out mean. These other guys were mean, because they killed people, but he was just a mean guy. The other gangsters didn't like him. I never saw him overindulge in any liquor. Never. And he would stab you as soon as look at you. And after that incident I told you, when I had to go around with him, I always made sure I was an arm's length away from him.
What was his name?
Tony Mira.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That was him.
Now, after it was over and they found out who I was, they killed Mira. His own nephew killed him, actually.
Wow.
Because he introduced me to all the Bonannos.
Wow.
Yeah. Lefty was on his way to get killed, but the FBI picked it up on the wiretap. So they snatched him, surveillance team snatched him off the street. They killed Sonny Black. Sonny Black got killed. Yeah, he got killed. Yeah.
So all the people that had let you in.
Yeah. Tell you how Sonny Black got killed. You talk about a gangster, right? When it came out that I was an undercover, in the beginning, the mob didn't believe I was an FBI undercover agent. They thought the FBI had kidnapped me and was trying to turn me. Because we picked it up on the wiretaps and informants. But once their lawyers told him, hey, he really is an undercover agent. So Sonny Black gets a call. You got to go to a sit down. So he walks into the Motion Lounge. He had a diamond ring. Takes off his diamond ring. All right. Takes his money out of his pocket. Takes all his keys except his car keys. Puts them on the counter. Says to the bartender, I just got called to a sit down. I'm probably not coming back. Is that a gangster?
Wow.
Calls his girlfriend. And this is how we found this out. Calls his girlfriend and tells her the same thing. So what happens is that after they find his body and everything. His girlfriend calls the FBI, and she says, "I'd like to have a meeting with Donnie Brasco." And I said, "Why?" I said, "Because I got something to tell him that Sonny Black." She called him Sonny. She didn't call him Sonny Black. She said that Sonny wanted me to give him a message. They said, okay. So they fly her down to D.C. and myself and the other agents, go out to a restaurant. And she said, Sonny wanted me to tell you, this is what happened. She said, this is what happened. He got called to a sit down, and he goes into the Motion Lounge, gives his ring, his money, his car keys to the bartender, and tells the bartender, I got called to a sit down, and I'm probably not coming back. And then he calls me, and he says her name, and he said, if I don't come back, he said, I want you to get in touch with Donnie and tell him I loved him. Whoa. And he was just better than we were. I don't hold anything against him.
Wow.
Is that a gangster or what?
That's a guy that's living that life.
Huh?
Wow.
Is that a gangster?
That's crazy.
Yeah.
How did that make you feel?
Well, it kind of threw me for a loop. I mean, I had a good relationship with him. And like I said, I didn't want to see anybody get killed.
Right.
Even Mira, I didn't want to see him get killed. I mean, although I might have fucking done it myself. I mean, the guy was just plain mean. But, that's not my job. My
Right.
job is to gather evidence, bring you to trial, and hopefully you get convicted.
Right.
But yeah, Sonny, the difference, me and Sonny, we could sit just like we're having this conversation. He wasn't 24/7 gangster. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We'd break chops, we'd break balls. JRE was 24/7 gangster. I liked him because he was a great cook. He was, man. Boy, I'll tell you, Joe, he could cook. But you always, there was always something, he was digging for, But like Sonny, look, I'm staying over at the main capo in the family, one of the two main capos in the family's apartment. He'd get up in the morning. I sleep on his couch. We'd get up in the morning. He'd go, here's a guy that's running a goddamn Bonanno family. He'd go out to get coffee and hard rolls and butter and bring him back, and me and him would sit there in our shorts and watch cartoons on television. I tell that to the guys at the FBI, and they say, "No, I'm telling you, this is, And then he had a weight bench in his apartment. And back in the day, I used to lift pretty good. I mean, you can't tell me now because, of course, I'm old now, but and I was pretty good at arm wrestling, right? And he could never beat me, and he was built like you. I mean, he was built, right? He's about your size and everything, and big arms like you got. But he could never beat me in arm wrestling. And I don't know what it was. So one day he says to me, Donnie, I'm going to beat you today in arm wrestling. I said, Sonny, you'd never fucking beat me. Why today? I'm going to beat you. I said, okay. So the day goes on. So then he says, all right, let's go. Right? We're going on. He spits in my eye. Boom. He said, I told you I beat you.
But
But I mean, that's the kind of guy he was.
right,
You know, and I couldn't get PO'd at him.
right.
You know, but with Lefty, you couldn't joke around like that.
Right.
You know, I mean, he was he was something else, man. He couldn't stand air conditioning.
Really?
Never. We'd be in the car in Miami. The windows would be up, and he'd be smoking English Ovals with no air conditioning.
Jeez.
And I'm dying. I'm dying. I put the window down. Donnie put that window up. He turned the air conditioner off. He couldn't stand air conditioning.
Why?
I don't know. He had cancer. Maybe it was, I don't know.
Oh, he had cancer at the time while he's smoking with the windows rolled up?
Yeah, but he had been cured of that, you know. He had been cured. He had testicle cancer years before. He eventually died of lung cancer. I mean, he used to smoke English Ovals. We go in the hotel room, and we always had a big suite. So, you know, we didn't have different rooms. We'd have a suite with 2 bedrooms. He turned the air off. So, you know, you have to do things to keep your sanity sometimes, right? So we're down in Miami. So I figured, son of a bitch, I'm going to get you today, right? So I said, Left, I got to go to the head. I'm going up to the room. I go up. I take the cover off the air conditioning. I crank it where you could hang meat in there, right? And I put the cover back on, and I put a thing in there so, you know, if you move the thing back up here. We get upstairs. I mean, it was freezing. So we get in that room. We get in that suite, and he's like, Donnie, turn that air conditioning off. So I go over there, and I said, Left, I don't know. Something's wrong. I don't know. He said, call the front desk. Get maintenance up here. So I pick up the phone, but I don't. I make believe I'm talking. I said, yeah, this is room so-and-so, and our air conditioner's broke. Could you send somebody up? But I'm not talking to anybody. Because I want him to freeze as long as he can freeze. So after a while, did you call that? I said, Left, you saw me call him again. And I do the same thing. And now he's calling me, Joe, every name in the book. It's your fault. You did this. You broke it. I said, Left, I didn't do a thing. I don't know nothing about air conditioning, right? So finally, after about a half an hour, I call and I say, hey, our air conditioning. So they send somebody up, and the guy takes it. Okay, there it is. But he blamed me. But, you know, but that's how you keep your sanity sometimes, you know.
God.
But,